So I'm back with another module, which is the fourth module in ITIL framework, and that is called ITIL Service Value System or ITIL SVS. So ITIL Service Value System is the central piece of the framework of this entire fourth edition of ITIL, and this is the system that distinguishes primarily the fourth version with the third version of the ITIL framework. This central piece or the complete infrastructure, service infrastructure of the ITIL4 framework would allow an opportunity or demand to be converted into a service value that could be utilized by the end customer, and that could be taken as a service and paid a suitable price by the buyer. So let's understand this service value system, which is the central piece of the entire ITIL service value system infrastructure. So this entire system is consisting of various pieces. Let's understand them. On the left hand side, you can see a small circle, and that is what is describing the opportunity or the demand for the service or the opportunity to provide a service. And when this opportunity undergoes the complete service value system, that is when it is converted into a value which could be used by the end consumer. And accordingly, the business could be generated out of it. Now, the central entire the maroon color hexagon that describes various pieces to it. Let's understand each one of them one by one. So, guiding principles. Guiding principles is a set of universal guiding principles, 7 guiding principles. We would speak about each one of them, and this is what it describes and helps you craft a service which is going to be useful to the end consumer. We would speak about them in detail. Governance is a framework that allows multiple teams in who are engaged in providing the service management to the end consumer, how they are resolving their day-to-day issues, and how they are conducting various aspects of the service management. That governance structure would allow uh, multiple teams to connect with each other and resolve their day-to-day issues. The service value chain is the central piece, and central piece allows you how service idea is generated, and then how various pieces of the service idea is able to generate the entire create the entire infrastructure and convert the opportunity on the left hand side to the value on the right hand side. So we would speak about this as well. We would also speak about the various ITIL practices which are mentioned here. And these ITIL practices have been utilized by service organizations in last 20 to 30 years, and organizations have been immensely benefited. So we would speak about these ITIL practices as well. And the last piece, as you can see here, is the continual improvement. Continual improvement is also a core aspect of the entire service value system that describes how a service, once it is operational, once it is being provided to the end consumer, how you can make changes based on the customer feedback, and how this would continue to be useful to the end consumer. So we would speak about this as well, right? So first, let's speak about the 7 guiding principles. These principles are universal in design and absolutely important must for any kind of service which is going to be provided as per the framework. These guiding principles, these 7 guiding principles would help the service provider craft a service which is going to be useful, highly useful, which is going to be appreciated by the end consumer. So let's understand each of these guiding principles one after another. The first guiding principle is focusing on value. And the focusing on value, what it says primarily is When multiple partners are engaged in providing services to an end consumer, each of these partners, while focusing on their respective piece of the contribution of the service, but they should target that each of these piece is going to be useful in the overall service delivery to the end consumer. For example, if let's say we are providing IT services and the network services partner is providing only the network services, the server services partner is only providing the server services, right? However, when they are providing their respective pieces, they have to make sure that they are available to coordinate any efforts which are required to deliver and the services to the end consumer. So, in case there is a ticket that requires coordination amongst multiple partners, they must come together to be able to be useful to the end consumer. The second one speaks about starting where you are. What it primarily says is that you can improve your services from wherever you are at this point of time, not necessarily that you have to cancel or you have to create a completely new service infrastructure wherever you are. For example, in your services delivery, you might have customer may not be very happy, the team members might have certain issues, the tools may not be good enough to be able to provide a rugged service. You can start improvising on each one of these aspects of the service and try to take your service to the next level. So you can start from wherever you are. You do not have to begin from the scratch. Progressing iteratively with the feedback. In the service management business, we must recognize that as a service provider, I always depend on what are the feedbacks being provided by the service consumers. Are they happy with our services or they have some more feedback? Right now, feedback should always be taken as positively, but at the same time, as a service provider, I have to keep this in mind that not all feedbacks are useful. Out of let's say 100 such feedbacks, maybe 20 of them are useful, which I can incorporate to improve the standards of my services, to improve the quality of my services. Rest 80 of them probably I could discard. So I have to just keep in mind that receiving the feedback and making sure that useful aspects of those feedback are incorporated in the service creation. Collaborate and promote visibility. This is also super important when we find that multiple partners are working together to serve one end client. And in that case, it would make sense only if multiple partners can come together. They would create their interactions, their workflow, their communications flow, their data flow in such a way so that they are able to see the visibility of the other partners. That would help them in creating the right flow and the right collaboration. It would create certain level of trust and bonding as well amongst them, and as a combined value system that would be much more useful to the end customer. Thinking and working holistically. This principle is also related to the same fact that while one partner is working for their respective piece, but they have to think for the entire business as a whole, and that requires them to make sure that they are providing their own service, but overall the target should be on the end result which is being created by the created for the service consumer. Keeping it simple and practical. In other words, what it says is how can we minimize the waste, the any amount of work which is not required to be done, that is the amount of work or the effort saved. So this simple is quite easy to be understood but difficult to be implemented. It is possible when the service delivery team is always on the lookout to improve their services to the next level. An improvement can be in terms of the delivery of the services, maybe the cost of providing the services, the skills of the people involved, and maybe the tools, maybe the processes, documentation, all of these combined. So keeping it simple and practical is the ultimate kind of guideline that all the partners and the other people involved should keep in mind. And finally, optimizing and automating the services. What it primarily means is the complete process flow that has been arrived at to provide the services to the end consumer. If you can optimize them, you would find that it would be far more easy for you to automate them as well. Optimizing would mean making sure the entire the processes, a set of processes have been understood well, and they have been measured well. Because only when we are able to measure these processes, we would be in a position to control them, and we would be in a position to automate them. Right now, optimizing and automating would help you scale up your infrastructure even to other locations. That is the primary benefit of optimization and automation. So now let's look at these principles further.